by the striking power of Korea. Look at that, that's real commitment. Just managing to get the ball over the net. But in the end, just a little bit too much to ask for them. So once again, Hernandez Luis serving. And Cuba looking to build upon this early fourth set lead. And it's wide. Well, Japan really back in the hunt in this fourth set. Nice point. Well, this 9,000 crowd here in the Tokyo National Stadium really enjoying that one. Well, a huge spike there from Torres, the number 10. The second tallest member of this Cuban national team. She plays her volleyball in Havana for Ciudad Havana, alongside Caballal. And a Japanese point. So, in spite of the 2-1 advantage that Cuba has, Japan really keen to get back into contention. And a good strong block. Well, a wonderful sight there. Asako Tajimi, one of the stronger Japanese players. On correction, in fact, it was Mika Yamochi who actually got her hand on the ball. But again, just looking at that sequence of play, Costa Blanca setting up the huge spike, taking over service now. You get a very strong sense that Cuba can win this one. They certainly have in their team players with a stronger point-scoring ability. Luis Hernandez putting in the spike, but just going off Japanese hands. So for Japan, the real struggle is to keep out these very strong Cubans, to unsettle them just like they did in the first set and make them commit unforced errors. But again, just proving my point there, Belle McKenzie steps up to the net with a huge spike. So Yoshihara comes on. This is the first we've seen of her. And very quickly into the action. Serving now. And a good point, Caballal there. 1.9 meters tall. Born just 7 days before Christmas, 1969. Well, the home crowd here was really willing Yoshihara to get that ball back into play. Difficult one. And a timeout called. Japan definitely on the defensive here, the concluding stages of this fourth set. Points to 6 and holding a 2-1 advantage over the home team, Japan. Japan, of course, earlier on this week recording strong victories over both Russia, 3-1, and also Germany, 3-0. A very strong play from Caballal, who's worked very hard on her attacking game since the Olympics. She's best known as a blocker, having been named best blocker at both the World Cup in '89 and the Barcelona Olympics. But she's turned into an extremely adept point scorer as well. So Nomura just comes on as a substitute, just for a couple of minutes. She takes over serve. Well, Japan take the points. Hernandez Luis looks very upset. I'd like to see this replay again from the angle. Well, it doesn't really show it, but the spike drifting wide anyway. And that one wide as well. So Japan take 2 points. That's much more characteristic of kind of firepower we expect from the Cuban front line. Cavallel once again in the action. And if Cuba do take this, Japanese really have to look at Cavallel as the woman that undid their chances in this match. Emochi coming back on again. Nomura takes her place again on the subs bench. There she is, a huge figure in Cuban volleyball, both literally and spiritually. And this a very grim scoreline for Japan. 4 points down on the Cavallel serve. But not to be outdone, Yamauchi organizing a comeback. Kazumi Nakamura to serve. Now Cuba wrestle the service advantage back. They'll be wanting to know how they can beat these Japanese down. They really have been very tenacious throughout this match. And that, a classic case in point. Absolutely refusing to give in there. Kyoko Fukuda plays her volleyball for the Hitachi team, member of the Olympic squad. Miho Murata coming on as a substitute. Oh, and a great serve there from Motoko Obayashi. Really found the Achilles heel in that Cuban defensive layout. Just floated the ball in there. A beautiful serve. But nonetheless, Cuba just a handful of points away from victory. Women's World Volleyball Grand Prix tie-up between Japan serving now and Cuba. We're in the 4th set. This could be the decisive one. And shots like that from Luis Hernandez are becoming increasingly frequent. Hernandez serving. A good block. Both the Cuban jumpers got up very high, but the shot was down the baseline, so it just clipped the fingertips of the Cuban blocker, and no direction on that block. But that service opportunity wasted as Torres comes up to resume the attack for Cuba. Great play from Cuba. They really shuffled up their options. The set came from center court, but instead of going to the left-hand side as was expected, it actually went back over the body to the right-hand flank, and that was where the telling spike came from. I think that was wide. Correction, Japan have it. Great play, look at this one. Nobody was expecting it from Fukuda, number 7. Serving now, desperately trying to get Japan back into this 4th set. Well, a good spike. And you have to say a very good reception, but nobody was on hand to turn it into an attacking possibility. So Cuba 2 points away from taking this match. And if they do, of course, they will be the champion side of this Tokyo preliminary leg. Again, Japan baffled by the change of direction in the set. Instead of going from the center to the left, they went from the center to the right. And it's Guido there, number 4, was the woman who put the shot away. Japan save 1 match point. Is it too much to ask that they can get back into this game? A home crowd certainly doesn't think so. Great point for Japan. Wonderful point. 10-14. Well, could we see the makings of a real tremendous fight back? An illegal serve. And so Cuba looking at match point here. 4 match points. And that's it. Well, a great service was all that it took. A disappointing service reception, but Japan can certainly hold their heads up high. They put in a tremendous fight. It took 1.5 hours for Japan to be beaten 3-1 by Cuba. The scores 13-15, 15-11, 15-11, 15-10. And Cuba finished this Tokyo preliminary leg champions. Japan will be 2nd, Russia and Germany 3rd and 4th. Luis Hernandez, one of the star players in that Cuban lineup, but certainly for my money, the pick of the bunch, Caballero Rivera from Havana. A towering presence, 1.9 meters, and really the central figure in that very dominating Cuban performance in sets 2, 3, and 4. All credit to Japan, though. They put a very well-balanced and fast attacking team on the field, but in the end, the attacking power of Cuba dominated throughout pretty much all of the match, despite lapses in concentration, particularly in set 1. Cuba, therefore, the champions against Japan, and also the champions in this Tokyo preliminary leg. Thanks for joining us. Goodbye.